Hi Leo, welcome to your love reading for January 2020. As you can see, you had quite a few jumping cards, so let me show you what they are. Let's start with this deck right here. You had the Seven of Swords, and I'm going to turn them all over and then kind of give you an idea of what's going on here. So you had Seven of Swords, Six of Swords, Three of Pentacles, and then down here, same deck, the Star, same deck, Two of Swords. Now let's move on to this other deck. Eight of Swords, Ten of Swords, Four of Swords, Seven of Wands. So I definitely feel the sign of Leo, I see a lot on your mind. This is not your reading. These are just the jumping cards. I'm going to put them back and then we're going to start the reading. But when I saw all this, and I did pull these first from this deck, and then I shuffled the confirmation deck. Looking at this right here, let's just start right here. I feel like the sign of Leo, like you have to be careful that you're not in denial, because you're starting with the Seven of Swords, and I did want to wait to see what jumped with it before I kind of decided what this meant. I feel like for the sign of Leo, you want to be careful that you're not in denial as far as a lot of effort that you're putting into a relationship. Or a relationship that is over, where you are going nowhere. There is stuck energy here. You have the Two of Swords. There is nothing happening, and I do see a lot of effort being put in to make things better, which is the Six of Swords. I feel like you feel, if I keep doing this, if I keep trying, if I keep investing, if I keep begging, I will have my wish as far as this relationship or this person. But this is a card of self-deceit. Now, the other deck over here, I see the sign of Leo like pretty stuck. Like mentally, you're kind of like at a loss. Like, I don't know what to do. I've done everything. I've tried everything. What do I do now? I see the sign of Leo here, unable to move on. But, you're being told here it's actually time to heal. You need a timeout. You need a break. I feel like you have a lot going on mentally. From both decks. You've done, or you're doing a lot to get your relationship or marriage back on track. Here with the Six of Swords, but I feel like there could be some denial here. You also have the Seven of Wands. I feel like you may have to kind of confront the truth. This is a confrontational energy. Confront the truth that maybe something is not meant to be, or that maybe it's time for you to move in a different direction. These are all just jumping cards, so let me get this out of the way. This is not your reading, but I feel like somebody maybe needed to see all this. So let me just put these back in the deck and we will start your reading. Give me just a minute. Okay, Leo, now let's go ahead and start with your reading. This is going to be for the month of January. I did want to show you what is at the bottom of the deck when I put everything back, and we have the Four of Cups. To me, the Four of Cups represent an energy saying thanks, but no thanks. This is someone who is not interested. This is someone who is looking away from what you're offering. Okay, this is a love reading for the sign of Leo for January 2020. The Tower. Love reading for the sign of Leo for January. The Star. Interesting, because this is one of the cards that jumped. Love reading for the sign of Leo for January. Seven of Cups. Love reading for the sign of Leo for January. Six of Wands. Love reading for the sign of Leo for January. Eight of Wands. Love reading for the sign of Leo for January. Four of Swords. Love reading for the sign of Leo for January. Nine of Swords. Love reading for the sign of Leo for January. Ten of Wands. This card wants to come out here. And Ten of Cups. What's the most important thing that Leo needs to hear about their love life for January 2020? You have the Seven of Pentacles. So the Seven of Pentacles is telling you that you have options. And, I did tell you at the beginning of the reading, with all the messages that you had, I feel like maybe the sign of Leo has been trying really hard to make something better or to make something happen where really there is maybe no going back. This card is telling you that you have other options. This can mean other options as far as a new relationship. But we'll come back to this card in a minute and see how it ties in with the rest of the reading. Let's go ahead and start at the top. If you would like a private reading with me, I'll put a link to my website down below, channeledguidance.com. Okay, so you have the Tower, the Star, and the Seven of Cups here. So again, there's something that the sign of Leo wants very much. This card jumped for you, and it's the second card that I pull. And the star does represent your hopes and wishes when it comes to a relationship or marriage. You do have some very unexpected energy here with the Tower. This is something kind of something changing very radically as far as what you want. It can be that you start to think in a different way, because the Seven of Cups is confusion, lack of clarity. It could be that maybe you hear something about the person that you love, or maybe you hear something that makes you rethink this desire to have someone back in your life. Let me get a confirmation card for the Tower to see what this is. What confirmation is there for the sign of Leo for this energy of the Tower? Yeah, the Four of Wands. Because the Four of Wands, to me, this is stability. This represents a stable relationship or marriage. And again, it's like that you hear something unexpected, a very unexpected situation as far as your hopes and wishes, that leads to a lot of confusion. With the Seven of Cups, it leaves you in a very emotional, kind of vulnerable place. So there can be something that you hear about a partner or relationship, maybe that changes everything. You might start to think that this person maybe can't give you the stability that you want. Again, this may have you thinking that, you have other choices here with the Seven of Pentacles. Now, with the next row, you have the Six of Wands, the Eight of Wands, and the Four of Swords. So, I feel, again, like the sign of Leo has been waiting. You have the Eight of Wands. You have been waiting for a change in your love life. You've been waiting maybe for communication. This can also represent communication that has, you've been waiting for a really long time for this to happen. There is victory here with the Six of Wands. Like perhaps this can happen for you, but there is a need for a timeout here with the Four of Swords. There is a need for you to take a step back from all of this. Let me get another confirmation card for you. Why has the Four of Swords come up for the sign of Leo for January 2020? Yeah, look at the confirmation that came up for you. I showed you this card and it was at the bottom of the deck. And I did want to show it to you because the Four of Cups represents someone who is saying thanks, but no thanks. I'm not interested. So remember, this is a general reading, but I feel like for those of you where, you have been trying really hard to make something change in a relationship. I feel like for those of you where you're already married and you have children, this probably is not going to apply to you. But I feel like maybe you need to take a step back with the Four of Swords. This is a retreating energy because someone around you where you're doing a lot of investing is not interested in what you're offering. But for others, there can be unexpected communication, change. There is excitement here. But I did want to look at this. Also look at the fours. I pulled the Four of Wands up there. There's the Four of Swords, the Four of Cups. The fours represent stability and a firm foundation. So for some of you, the foundation of the relationship that you're investing in, perhaps it's not strong enough, or it was never strong enough to begin with, so it has fallen apart. But you're being told here, take a step back from maybe someone that you're pursuing, where you're just kind of at a loss. Like, what now? There is a message here, thanks, but no thanks. Now down here, okay, this gets interesting as well. You have the Nine of Swords. I see the sign of Leo here, like pulling out your hair. This is someone who is agonizing. This is someone who is highly, highly stressed. Again, because you've done everything. You got the Ten of Wands. This is an uphill battle. This is like you're tired. You're tired, you're exhausted, you're drained. You've done everything you can to make things better, to get someone back. I still see you focused on this relationship here. It's like you want everything to be happy again. You want everything to be perfect again. But, there's a burden here. There's a burden that's not allowing that to happen. And I feel like the sign of Leo, like you're tired. You're tired of trying. And, there is a lot of agonizing here with the Nine of Swords. And again, I feel like someone is just telling the sign of Leo, thanks, but no thanks. Please retreat. Okay, let me get a few more. Let me just put this back in the deck because this was just confirmation. This card, Four of Cups, and the Four of Wands was also confirmation. What other messages are there for the sign of Leo for January 2020? Knight of Pentacles. The Magician. The Two of Pentacles. So the Magician is about creating your own reality. So you're creating your own reality here. And you can either create a reality where, you can explore other options. The Seven of Pentacles is the main energy. This is telling you to look very carefully because you have options that you have not yet explored. You're looking the other way where, someone is actually shooing you off. Again, it's not going to apply to everyone. For those of you where you're already married, you have children, you're in a long-term relationship, you live together, this does not apply to you. But I mean, you have other options, unless you feel like you want another option because you're not happy. That can also apply to you. But here, I mean, I feel like you need to be careful with this, because a sign of Leo, you are manifesting here. And you can either manifest things getting better for you slowly, but things will get better, the Knight of Pentacles. Or you can manifest this disaster here. The Two of Pentacles is instability. And I told you, I counted all the fours in this, you know, from this deck over here. I think there were 3 or 4 of them. And the fours do represent stability and a firm foundation. It's like a relationship that you want. It was never stable to begin with. It never had a strong foundation. So you're either going to manifest here, the Magician, a new beginning, progress in your love life, or you're going to manifest a mess, because that's what the Two of Pentacles represents. It's a mess. It's a juggling act. It's instability. It's a, you know, a lack of commitment. It's everything's just up in the air. So again, what are you going to manifest? Okay, let me get a few more cards from the confirmation deck. What are the messages are there for the sign of Leo for January 2020? 10 of Pentacles. 5 of Cups. Knight of Wands. What's the most important thing that Leo needs to hear about their love life for January 2020? Yeah, I mean, look at this. The Hangman. You're in limbo. You're stuck. And again, I feel like you need to go back to the first cards that you saw on the desk before I actually started this reading. I feel like this reading's not going to be for everyone, but I feel like whoever it is for, like, you really, like, you desperately need to hear this. And some of you, you do need to move on, because the more that you continue and try to revive something that's not going to come back, you're just going to stay in this place of limbo. You're not moving forward, and that's not what you want. That's not what you deserve. I mean, what I see here is that, you know, there is a relationship, or there was a relationship with the Ten of Pentacles, or a marriage here. There's a relationship maybe that you wanted to lead to marriage. And there is this fierce desire, you know, to have this again. The Knight of Wands is someone who is pursuing something, pursuing someone relentlessly. They're not going to give up. They're not going to back down. This is just going to lead to disappointment for you. We've got the 5 of Cups. Tears, sadness. There's a sense maybe of regrets. Like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. Let me get a confirmation card for you. What confirmation is there for Leo for the 5 of Cups? Yeah, I mean, I feel like you've been waiting. The 2 of Wands. This is delays and waiting. You have been waiting maybe for someone to change their mind. There is disappointment here. There are regrets. Perhaps you're regretting something you said, something you did. You want to take it back. There's just the energy of being in limbo here. But you have a choice. You have other options here. You also had the Magician. You can manifest, you know, something better for yourself. You did have the Knight of Pentacles. You can manifest progress, moving in a better direction. But you can also manifest a mess with the 2 of Pentacles, because this is what the 2 of Pentacles is. It's a mess. Instability. It's, again, what are you going to focus on? So I know I pulled a lot of cards for you to where I've almost kind of confused myself. Let me just put these down here so we can look at the whole spread before I move on to the X spread here. I mean, I feel like the sign of Leo, I mean, I feel like you're highly confused. You're lost as far as your hopes and wishes for a relationship or a marriage. And, you know, you want things to change. You've been waiting for things to change. You've been waiting for this victory. But, you know, the cards were telling you, take a step back. You need some time to think. And the confirmation for the 4 of Swords was the 4 of Cups. Someone is saying thanks, but no thanks. I'm not interested. And I feel like this is driving the sign of Leo crazy. The 9 of Swords. You're agonizing over this, because I feel like deep down you already know this. You're tired. The 10 of Wands. You're exhausted. You're tired of trying. I feel like this is what you're trying, you know, to manifest, this happy relationship. And you do have these 2 number 10s here side by side. The 10s do represent that you've gone as far as you can go. So let me get what I'm going to do. So this is kind of a weird reading. I'm going to get another card for you from this deck, which is a Love Oracle. What message is there for the sign of Leo about the person that they love, January 2020? You have gifts. So, I mean, because you have the Magician here, I mean, I definitely feel like, you can really manifest a new beginning here. I also feel like some of this, I'm hearing hidden blessing. So if a relationship, if you're dwelling on something that did not happen here with the Five of Cups, there's a sense of sadness, loss. There's actually a lot of new beginnings. There's a lot of opportunities, gifts that you can manifest for yourself. You can also manifest, a lot of instability and waiting, which is what I saw with the Two of Pentacles. Let me get another one. What other message is there for the sign of Leo as far as the person that they love for January 2020? Fun times. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you need to focus on just being happy again, because I definitely see a lot of stress, a lot of agonizing here. Someone who's exhausted, tired of trying. There's a sense of sadness, tears. You had a lot of swords in the first few cards that I pulled for you, as if you had a lot on your mind. You've been thinking, yet you're still in limbo. You're focusing on, what kind of new beginning, what kind of gifts can you manifest for yourself? You have to focus on being happy again, fun times. Focus on, lighthearted energy, perhaps exploring new beginnings. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the X spread. Okay, Leo, let's go ahead and see what's going on between you and your ex for the month of January. At the bottom of the deck, you did have the Hangman, which I did want to show you because it did come up. It came up in the first spread that I did for you. This represents being stuck and being in limbo. Okay, it shows the energies around Leo and their ex for January 2020. King of Pentacles. Leo and their ex for January. The Moon. Leo and their ex for January. Three of Swords. Leo and their ex for January. Death. Leo and their ex for January. Ten of Wands again. So this also is a repeat card. Came up in the first spread. Leo and their ex for January. Seven of Swords. This was one of the cards that I had, they jumped for you at the beginning of the reading. Leo and their ex for January 2020. Three of Pentacles, also one of the original cards that jumped with the Seven of Swords at the beginning of the reading. Leo and their ex for January. Temperance. Ten of Cups. Okay, so let me take a look at the spread. It's interesting that you're starting with a person. You have the King of Pentacles here, which is Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. Male or female, sun, moon, or rising. This can represent your ex. Can also represent you if you have a moon or rising in an earth sign. Let's go ahead and start at the top. So you also have the Moon and the Three of Swords. So I mean, I feel if you are the earth sign here, for many of you, I feel like you are. I feel like when it comes to your ex, there's, a lot of emotion here. You have the Moon, which represents the sign of Pisces. But it represents, a lot of, this is a very heavy emotional card. I feel like there's still a lot of heavy emotions. There's confusion. And there's definitely still a lot of heartache here. And it could be maybe because maybe you have been doing, here we go again, with the Three of Pentacles. You have been going out of your way maybe to get this relationship back on track. You've done everything that you can and then some to try to win this person back. That's what the Three of Pentacles represents. Yet this has led to nothing but more heartache, more confusion. Like, why don't they respond? Why is there nothing going on here? There's just a sense of heartache. You're still brokenhearted. Again, you've done everything that you can and then some. Now in the second row, you've got Death, Ten of Wands, Seven of Swords. This card did come up for you in the first spread. This card was one of the original cards that jumped that I had at the beginning. I had on the desk at the beginning of the reading. So, I mean, I feel like, it's just time for a big change for the sign of Leo. You've got Death here. This can also represent the sign of Scorpio. It's time for a big transformation in your love life. And I feel like this is either going to happen quickly because you had the Magician. You can manifest a new beginning. Or it's going to be painful. It's going to be like pulling teeth. You've got the Ten of Wands. I do feel like you're tired. Like, you've kind of reached the end of the road here. I've done everything that I can, and I still have nothing. You have the Seven of Swords here, which is kind of being in denial, sticking your head in the sand, and kind of thinking like maybe there's something else I can do. Not to sound pessimistic, but that is what I'm seeing here with these cards. You can't sugarcoat the Three of Swords and say that it's a beautiful card. You can't sugarcoat the Seven of Swords or the Ten of Wands, which came up for you in the first reading. I said that there's a lot of confusion around your ex. There's, you know, the pain is still there. The pain is real and it's still here. But I also feel like someone's in denial. Someone does not want to see that. You know, it's just, you know, what happened was just too much. It's time to part ways. Someone is still putting in a lot of time and effort. Now let me show you the bottom row. You've got Temperance and the Ten of Cups. So you've got Temperance, which can represent the sign of Sagittarius. But Temperance also means that, you know, you've done everything that you can here. And this is telling you, take it easy. Let everything happen naturally, like hands off. This is a message of non-action. You've done enough, Three of Pentacles. This is saying hands off. This also is a card of forgiveness. You know, there is a happily ever after here. So it could be that maybe once you back off, you know, that there could be, you know, there could still be a relationship. But there is a strong message here that, you know, you've done enough. It's time to just kind of let everything fall into balance. Okay, let me get a few more. What other messages are there for the sign of Leo about their ex for January 2020? Two of Wands. Leo and their ex for January. Queen of Swords. Five of Swords. Okay, so let's take a look at these. So you've got an air sign now. Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. Male or female, sun, moon, or rising. This can represent your ex. It can also represent you if you have a moon or rising and an air sign. What I see around this person, I mean, there's more waiting. And I feel like the sign of Leo, like you waited long enough to where if you keep waiting, you're only hurting yourself. You're working against yourself. And that could be what we're seeing here. Self-sabotage. This also is negative energy. It's like the devil. You could be that waiting also. It's going to lead, you know, it's a bad decision. The Five of Swords, it is like the devil, and it is a bad decision. And it is one of the cards in the deck that is a huge red flag. And I just put it over the other card that is a huge red flag. So I feel like for the sign of Leo, as far as exes, it's a big no-no this month, at least for me. I don't know about other readers, but this is a bad decision. It could be that if you continue to wait, it's a bad decision. Let me get a confirmation card for this Queen of Swords, because that would be Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. It can be you, but it can also be your ex. What confirmation is there for the sign of Leo for the Queen of Swords? The Wheel. So, I mean, the Wheel is actually a really positive card of destiny, change for the better. And this could be maybe why you had that Seven of Pentacles energy in the first spread, telling you that you have other options. And maybe if you keep waiting, which is here, and focusing on someone who's no longer there, that would be a very bad decision that's going to come back to haunt you. There is an air sign, and this is change for the better. Now, I also want to mention, if your ex is an air sign, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, it could be that, you know, this everything that I've been saying does not apply to you. This is a general reading. There could be, you know, a positive change with your air sign ex if they are an air sign. This is a change for the better, a card of destiny. Let me get another one. What does the Queen of Swords represent to the sign of Leo as far as their ex? My goodness, more waiting. The Three of Wands. I mean, I feel like if your ex is an air sign, yeah, I feel like if your ex is an air sign, I mean, for some of you, there is a possible reunion here. Change for the better in time. That could be why I'm seeing the Ten of Cups here. A happily ever after. Again, if your ex is an air sign. If not, I mean, the reading is screaming like it's time for the sign of Leo to move on. Pack up and move on. Otherwise, you know, you're in denial. You're working against yourself. You're tired. You're tired of trying. There's a burden there. You've done everything that you can. But I do feel for those of you where your ex is an air sign, there can be a change here with the Wheel in time. Okay, let me get a few more from the confirmation deck. What other messages are there for the sign of Leo about their ex for January 2020? Page of Swords. The Hangman. I think wasn't this card at the bottom of the deck? I feel like it was. And the Ten of Pentacles. So, I mean, I feel like these cards are telling you it's time to kind of face the truth. That's what the Page of Swords represents. It's time to just kind of face the music and just be completely honest with yourself when it comes to this relationship that you want. that you've had your eye on, that you've done everything that you can and then some to bring back. It's time to face the truth. The Page of Swords is being completely honest with yourself or with another person. The energy is stuck. The energy is in limbo. It could be that your ex does not want to return. Let me look at this spread a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, you're being told here it's time for the death of something. It's time for an ending so that you can move on. You can have a new beginning. There's, a lot of confusion here. You're possibly some of you are confused over the breakup. You've been waiting. I mean, I feel like the sign of Leo, the cards are encouraging you to move on as far as an ex. Let me get a card for you from this deck right here. I did use this deck for some of the other signs when I got to the ex spread. What final message is there for the sign of Leo about their ex for January 2020? Look forward. Yeah, it's ironic this card would come up because we're asking about an ex. And this card is telling you to look towards the future. Don't look towards the past. Because I feel like if you keep focusing on this ex, that you have been doing everything that you can to get back into your life. And you're actually tired and exhausted. And, you're drained from trying to get this person back. There's a sense of denial. You're being told, look towards the future. You can manifest something new. It can even be this air sign that I'm seeing here. Let me get another one. What other message is there for the sign of Leo about their ex for January? Oh my goodness, look at this. Take a step back. Like, you've done enough. You've been hurt enough. You've waited long enough. You've agonized enough. It's time to really just take a step back from everything and just kind of focus on yourself and new beginnings. I do feel like there's someone else waiting for the sign of Leo to come in. But I feel like if it's an ex that you're kind of focused on, fixated on, it's like you're hitting a dead end. And that's why the Hangman keeps coming up for you. Like, there's no going back if this is an ex that you're really focusing on. Okay, Leo, this has been your love reading for January 2020. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you again next month.